So let's be very clear about something. Last night, the House budget resolution passed, unfortunately on a very partisan party line vote, but it indeed did pass. One thing it does not do is cut Medicaid. It's right here in this document. There's no mention of cutting Medicaid or even the word Medicaid, Medicare, SNAP, or Social Security in this document that passed last night. Any claim to the contrary is actually fear-mongering, plain and simple, or I guess in my neighborhood, it would be known as a lie. It has been perpetuated to put fear in people and to drive anger at the majority party and have unruly town halls because people are being fed lies. It needs to come to a stop and have an honest debate, an honest conversation around here about how we're going to get our government back on a track that doesn't lead us to endless, massive deficits in our budget each year. Still on track for $2 trillion, upside down, following COVID spending. COVID is over with. We need to get back to at least to pre-COVID levels of spending and a more of an opportunity to actually balance our budget, where it might be only $700, $800, $900 billion upside down. The only way we're going to take a bite out of the national debt is to actually bring the lines together and have our budget balance. We can do that with limited spending and a strong economy. My understanding years ago is that if growth of spending was only 1%, these two lines would meet. A little bit of discipline around here. So that's what was being sought in the budget resolution. Now, this budget resolution is not a roadmap, it is not the final say on it. It actually is a roadmap for moving forward on the fiscal year 25 budget. It does not make final spending decisions. Those are still to be debated and heard in committee, on TV, in front of the people, on C-SPAN, in the committee process that folks can attend. It includes instructions for committees to review and adjust spending and revenue priorities, but it does not dictate specific program cuts, unlike the lies that have been spread all over in this chamber, in committees, and on the media. Reconciliation is indeed a standard budget process that we'll be taking up. The resolution instructs 11 committees to find ways to either reduce wasteful spending or invest in key priorities. These committees have until March 27 to develop their proposals, so nothing is set in stone yet. No lies needed. This is budgeting how it's always worked. Democrats know that, Republicans know it. But unfortunately, the other side of the aisle, they'd rather scare people than be honest about this process. And indeed, honesty is very, very much needed in order to get a harness back on the profligate spending that has happened in this place the last few years. We need to have honest conversations about these programs. My good colleague from Arizona speaks about this frequently. Social Security will be on the rocks by 2031, 2032, 2033, when that trust fund actually goes empty. Are we going to do something about it, or are we going to have lies and distortions about what is actually happening with that? Do we want to fix it as much as we can ahead of time, or we still have some runway to do so? Or do we want to just have lies about this and not try and do anything about it? I think we're instructed by the voters to do something about it and try and have these programs be salvaged so they aren't up on the rocks in just 5 or 6 or 7 years. We need to have the allocations of taxpayer dollars that come from the taxpayers, from the government, hardworking taxpayers that are not, these aren't, frequently they're called contributions. These aren't contributions, they're compelled. Otherwise, people come take your stuff and maybe you go to jail. These tax dollars need to be respected as the work of the people. And so when we make these allocations, whether it's national defense, border security, or tax relief for hardworking Americans, let's be honest about it. Let's get it done. This legislation is indeed focused on that and the ongoing effort with budget reconciliation and the work of DOEs. You were hearing all this bad stuff about DOEs. It's had a few fits and starts, but doggone it, it's getting to the bottom of a lot of wasteful spending. Each time they flip over the rocks, more cockroaches run out, and we find more things with bad contracts or spending that is not even a priority that any normal American could even think up. My home state of California, they're still seeking more money for that high-speed rail system. You know, that started out in 2008 for a price of $33 billion. The price is quadrupled now, $130 billion. Is that a good price? Is that a bargain for Americans? Is that a bargain for Californians? They've already tapped all the money they can at the local level, $9 billion of state money and about $3.5 billion of that ARRA money. Remember that shovel-ready so-called stimulus money back in 2009? They've already tapped that. They have what is called the cap and trade tax in California, which raises about $1 billion per year. It's like a new currency now. It taps into the producers of carbon dioxide in the state and makes them pay a ransom to continue to produce whatever manufacturing they do. So this budget resolution is a good start, but it's not the final document. We'll be working on that in the light of day in front of the people.
Gentleman's time has
I yield back.
expired.